micro red dot's been available on the RX guns that SIG sells, or available separately for the X5 guns or other platforms with the handgun adapter kit. The Romeo1 itself comes in either a 3 or a 6 MOA version. There are a couple things about it we're going to go over, but most importantly, today we're going to go over something that some people have thought of as a real deficiency of the Romeo1, which is while it's durable and it holds up really, really well to fire and to work action on the slide, it does not hold up really well to physical abuse. So the housing, actually, the whole Romeo1 is about 8 ounces, and it's made out of magnesium, which is great because it is strong for what it is. But it doesn't take well to being, let's say, dropped on, if you drop a gun onto concrete or something else like that, if it lands on this hood, not saying it will break, but certainly there is more chance of it breaking than something like an RMR or something else like that. Same thing for users who like to charge off of a desk or something else like that. That's a real problem for the Romeo1. More specifically, the first version of the Romeo1 that came out, that first shipped on the guns, there was a second version that came out that actually had an updated hood, like a version 2, and all the 6 MOA and all the new 3 MOA are version 2. I'll mention quickly too, the 6 MOA is dramatically brighter. So for competitions now, although I have 3, I still think 3 MOAs, I have a couple of 6 MOAs now as well. I've got tens of thousands of rounds on my first Romeo1, and then but the 6, because the 3 was good, the 6 is just a little bit better, especially in some of those conditions where you have like sun in the back, on your back or something else like that. In some range conditions, it's nice to have the extra brightness of the 6. But I digress. Looking really quickly before we get into it, the big vulnerability that you had with the first generation of the Romeo1, if you can see the shape of the lens like this, where it kind of went angled in and then had a sharp protrusion going this way, so you kind of went in. So if I'm going to take this something that's like non-scratch surface here on this popsicle stick here, I can actually feel, if I'm rubbing across the surface, I can feel where that lens is. So the little edges here don't completely cover that lens. So what that means, if you rack it off a table really hard, then you can actually be hitting that lens directly. Obviously that's not a great thing, so to fix that, SIG made this updated version that has this, that comes out a little bit further right here, and it's more of a straight angle. Instead of going in, it just stays straight, and of course that extended distance covers that lens, protects that lens much, much better if you're charging off or doing other things. But again, if you're someone who you're looking for a duty gun and you think, hey, I might drop this, I really want the best protection, then still going with that 0.8 ounce magnesium might not be the most durable option for you. You want a little bit more. SIG now has this add-on, which is the Shroud, and we're going to take a look at it and see if we can put it on really quickly. So this Shroud is made up of steel, if I understand it, and there's also rumored to be another version of the Romeo1 that they were working on that was going to be completely aluminum. Haven't seen that yet. I think SIG is still working with different options on what their next ruggedized version of the Romeo1 will be. But if you're looking to enhance the platform you may have already, if you already have a Romeo1, again, if you really want to do something else that's ruggedized, hey, here's an option for you. So we have a couple of screws. Look like they have some red Loctite on them this time. Blue Loctite's what's on the Romeo1 normally, and this Shroud is supposed to work for both the Gen 1 and the Gen 2 Romeo1s. Installation should be pretty simple. I'm actually just going to take my Wheeler wrench here. Again, 28 pounds, 25 to 28 pounds is what the SIG Optics folks had told me in the past for securing your Romeo1. And of course, they use a little bit of blue Loctite. And so we're just going to take my, this is a compact RX here that I have a Springer Precision comp on. And we'll just see if we can fit on the Shroud here. Alright, easy peasy to get that off. And this is one of my I think this is the oldest Romeo 1 I have, actually, this one right here. So I do have about 10,000 rounds on this guy before I start going to the 6, which is what I have on my X5, which I'm using for competition most often. Alright, if I can get the screws out of here. There we go. Okay, so here's my Gen 1 Romeo 1. And if you look, the screws that come with it, they are a little bit longer. There was a question on the weight for this guy, so let's find that out right now. Looks like we're 0.7 ounces, so that's kind of hefty. I mean, so the Delta Point Pro is about 2 ounces, if I understand. So this is 8 ounces plus 7 ounces, so you're 1.5 ounces with the battery. So you're still looking at a little bit less weight with the Romeo 1 and the Shroud than you would with the Delta Point Pro. The Romeo 1 just slides right in, and then the screws will just go right through, and that's what holds on both the Shroud and the Romeo 1. Looking at this, looks like this does give us lots and lots of coverage on the front, and it does slide through, so again, we'll fit either the Gen 1 or the Gen 2 Romeo 1s, and it looks like it leaves a little bit of space around it, and then we'll look and see how this co-witnesses once we get done. So looking at the RX, it does look like there's just not quite enough room, because of the angle that the mount is for the Romeo 1, right, where it's a little bit, where it's angled in the front, kind of dovetails in there on the front. With the Shroud right now, there's not quite enough room for the R1 to slide on there. Now the Shroud goes on by itself. If you're putting this on an X5 or an X Carry or something like that, it shouldn't be a problem, but I'll tell you what we're going to do. We are going to see if we can just remove a little bit of material off of probably most of the front, maybe a little bit of the back end. That Romeo 1 kind of dovetails in like this and this, so it makes sense if it's sitting taller that it's not going to fit quite right. So let's grab a file. We're gonna take some passes and see what happens here. Let's see if we can get fit. Not sure how much I'm going to need. Ooh, that's it. That is all I needed. Just a touch. Now it's nice and tight in there. Wow. Okay. Alright, so I really just barely touched the front of that, and now the thing's sliding in. So, let's grab our new longer screws here and drop them in. Get them in most of the way, and I'm going to back it out just a touch and make sure I'm even side to side on this. And basically I'm just going to eyeball it here. That looks let's go that way just a bit. All right, it's gonna be close enough. Go ahead and tighten this down here. Again, I'm just going to that 20 pounds where I have the set. Just like that. See if I can turn on my dot. There it is. And let's see. So, Now there's definitely not as much co-witness there as there used to be. Just got a bit at the top there. So it definitely, for those of you who have the old style RX, yeah, you know, you can co-witness with it. It's not you got a little bit of that notch blocked, so it's not quite as good as it used to be. But the good thing about this, and we'll see if we can move the camera here out to the edge, is it should be quite a bit more durable. So we'll whack it around a bit. Let's see, here's some, here's a few dummy rounds. So let's go ahead and see if we can do this without breaking it. Well, jam my dummy rounds in there, that's not good. Okay, well, I'm hitting it pretty hard here. So this still looks good. My table's kind of messed up now. So can't say everything went perfectly, but the shroud seems to be holding up just fine. Again, I'm probably not going to take it and throw it on the floor because I don't want to completely destroy it here or risk destroying it, but certainly, if that was something you were worried about banging it around, this seems to be a pretty good option here from SIG to enhance your Romeo1, your RX, or your X5, or what have you there. So pretty cool. Well done. Good job from SIG. And one more thing. Now, if you do have a RX or a X carry, I have seen at SHOT Show they had another version of this. They had also a rear sight module. Not sure about that or when that might come out or if it might come out, but they are cooking up some other things here in this space, and you know, SIG continues to make enhancements all over the place with, you know, both their guns as well as optics and everything else. So if that's useful, and have a great night or day or whatever you have.